Welcome to another Sir James D Tech video. Today I will be doing the review for the in-win Ironclad Full Tower Case. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing for this review is just going around the case. I didn't put any components inside of it because frankly I've run out of things to put into there. So I'll just start at the front here. We got microphone jack and we have headphones for USB 2.0. This does not come with USB 3.0, unlike the in-win Dragon Slayer. $13.94, and this is kind of rare. It has two eSATA ports on the front, and as I said, there's not many cases that have two of them. Reset, power, and nicely it says Ironclad right there, and you can kind of see it has the in-win design, which I actually think this is kind of cool. It doesn't look like, it reminds me a little bit of the Half-X, but it doesn't have quite the tank track effect that had. Now, in order to take this front panel off, it's so simple. I'll show it to you using just one hand. And it's off. And you can see it's got nice dust filters in the front. So even though you might not be occupying all of these slots, it'll still keep your system nice and clean for you. And as you can see, it's got 5 5.25-inch drive bays. One of them is the rails, and there's some more underneath here. And the other, besides the other standard 3, is a 5.25 to 3.5-inch hard drive converter. Now what I would suggest doing is, if you plan on using this, don't use the top slot, because for cable management purposes, and I'll get to that in a minute, that's frankly a little bit ridiculous to have it in the top. Put it on one of the lower ones. Okay? This right here is for a 2.5-inch solid state drive, and I'll show it to you inside. And then we got a 120mm fan here. Now what I could get for specs for the fans is the 120mm at 1200 RPMs. It runs 25.85 dBA, which is very quiet. However, I was unable to come across any CFM specifications for the fans. On the top for exhaust is another one of the 120mm, and there's room to place a second 120mm exhaust fan. However, in-win did not supply this second fan. Now this side panel design is fairly unique. I know it's a little bit like the Dragon Slayer in that it's got the mesh, and that had 4 120s that could be on, but this has compatibility for 6 120mm fans, and you can see that it's cushioned with washers around the holes for anti-vibration. And there's also a 220mm fan right here, and the specs for that is at 500 RPMs, it has 21.69 dBA. And then coming over here, this switch, this is a blue LED fan. This switch can turn that off and on, which is a very nice feature if you do things like folding overnight and you sleep in the same room as this sucker. Just turn the light off. The feet are very nice. They can be adjusted like this, and there's rubber on the bottom so you don't have all that vibration going on. Scooting around to the back, you can see here's where the I/O shield goes. Another 120mm exhaust fan, and 8 expansion slots, 4 water cooling holes with rubber grommeting. I don't think I've seen too many cases with 4. And then you can see the power supply goes here, right on the bottom. Okay, the far side panel is completely clean, nothing on it. However, it does have the sound dampening on the inside, you can see there. And this is not a flimsy steel at all. This is strong steel, which I greatly appreciate, because if you're going to be doing any kind of wiring around the back, and again, I'll get to that in a minute, but in this and other cases, you're not going to have a heck of a lot of bowing with this sturdy of a side panel. So you can see there's not a lot of room back here. So comparing this with other full tower cases out there right now, this aspect of the case falls short. I like the thumb screws. They're nice and easy to grip, and you can see you can also use a Phillips screwdriver with them in case you want to get them on really tight. And the side panel comes off extremely easily. There's no catching up there like some cases. And there's sound dampening foam on this side panel also. Now, as you can see, there is plenty of room inside this case, and it will fit the AMD now 5970, which is 12.5 inches long. Now to the real meat and potatoes of this case, the inside. You can see it's all black, which I personally absolutely love. Everybody knows I love everything to be black, even though I'm not a cable sleever. This is one of my issues. Again, in order to get this dust filter out, you're going to have to take out the power supply. Now, what could be done to alleviate this is, because the only way to fasten this down is to clip it in, perhaps they could come out with some sort of a rail system. I like that they put it on risers. I mean, that's beautiful. But so that you could just slide it in. You see what I'm saying? Or slide it in from the back. You know, don't have it so you got to clip it down, because when you got a power supply up there, how exactly are you going to clip this down? I mean, if you try to use a stick, you risk damaging this felt here. So just have a sliding technique. It should work out beautifully. Now, as you can see, starting here and going up, you'll be able to fit 5 3.5-inch hard drives in here using the rails I showed you. And also, here's a 3.5-inch to 2.5-inch solid-state drive converter. You'll be able to fit a hard drive in there as well if you take this out. For the PCI slot, it's completely toolless. All you gotta do is release, that comes out, release, and then it comes out, and you should be able to fit a dual slot card right in there, and then clip it down. This case is compatible with micro ATX, standard ATX, and extended ATX motherboards. There is a CPU backplate cutout, however, and this is something I'm suggesting to every case company that sends me stuff, please make this bigger, okay? Because with my 1366 socket motherboard, I know some people have, I got a response from somebody with a gigabyte board, X58, that they were able to fit it. But with my EVGA X58 classified, it's coming all the way over here. You see what I'm saying? And this backplate cutout is virtually useless. So if you could just extend this cutout like my Corsair 800D, that would be so much better. Also something, and I wanted to show this to you with that back side panel on. Can you tell me where the cable management holes are? I mean, this is something I've had good communication with InWin about. They said on their newer models, they will include cable management. But, you know, virtually what you're left with is having to stuff the excess cables into drive bays, things like that, when really they should be going out the back where they can't impede all this airflow coming in here. It's just going to heat up your case, make things much more inefficient. And I'm still not crazy about the yellow fans or anything yellow, but this seems to be a theme that InWin is going with. Now, as you can tell, there are some things about this case which I am absolutely impressed with. However, there are some things that InWin does need to work on in order to bring this up into the higher echelon of full tower cases. And InWin has assured me personally that they are working on these things. So I give them great credit for that. With that in mind, I highly anticipate InWin's next offering into the full tower case series, and I fully expect that if they improve on just a couple of the things which I laid out, they've got a great foundation here. But just a few of those things, they can definitely reach into the high grades for Sir James D. Tech. The fact that a full tower case that is this sturdy and has that much room inside retails for only around $115 to $120, that absolutely bumps up its value grade. So with the pluses I've illustrated, along with some of the negatives which definitely can be improved on and will be improved on, my final verdict is the InWin Ironclad Full Tower Case is a recommended Sir James D. Tech A-. Until next video, ladies and gentlemen, talk later.